Welcome to V-Buzz. I am Juanita.
And I'm Jay Walia, and on today's show, it's all about work, but don't worry, we still have time to play as well. Kicking things off, corporate trainer Shankar Santhiram of EQTD Consulting weighs in on the work-life balance discussion.
Yep, we also have counseling psychologist Balasubramaniam Somasundram, who's discussing the emotions and anxieties associated with retrenchment. It's very timely as well, given the news these days.
And retrenchment is a very very scary topic. So we will get more into that. We get fit and feisty with another bout of calisthenics and manhood.
Yes, and you had to say it like that, right? Like a man.
Like a man.
We also bring you the sights, sounds, and flavors from the recent Latin American festival in Malaysia in the latest Buzz. Now you can see Jay dancing and checking out all the hot chicks lah.
Yes, I know, doing my little salsa dance.
Yeah, but as always, keep writing to us at vbuzz@astro.com.my. Questions, suggestions. He needs a date, so please send that in.
I know. Actually, I need a dancing partner for the next Latin American festival. But you know what, guys? Yes, anything and everything goes. We're all ears, so make sure you keep those emails coming in. And guys, we still have a pair of escape room passes to give away in our hashtag #VBuzzIsMyEscape contest. All you need to do is just take a selfie of your game face, put it on Instagram. Keep your profile public and use the hashtag #VBuzzIsMyEscape. It's that simple. You could be escaping with a pair of escape room passes.
Yep.
Brilliant. It's a whole lot of fun as well. Now, speaking of fun and good times, according to the NST Online, award-winning local actor Bront Palare joins the star-studded Asian cast for the upcoming HBO Asia original series Half Worlds. The 8-part hour-long series, which begins production this week, is an Asian dark thriller set to premiere exclusively on HBO at the end of this year. Wow.
Sounds exciting.
Big things popping for Bront Palare right there.
Yeah, renowned Indonesia filmmaker Joko Anwar makes his television debut as director of the series. A fantastical tale of love, redemption and betrayal set in present-day Jakarta. Half Worlds is about a young street artist who uncovers her true origins when she finds herself unwittingly caught in a battle between human and demons. Sounds so scary.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like a Hindi movie. It's like the cross between Twilight and a Hindi movie, I guess. That's what it sounds like.
I guess
a bit,
so.
right?
That would be very interesting, actually.
Yes, I guess we just have to wait to check it out. Now, are you looking for something to do this weekend? We've got an out-of-the-box suggestion for you that will definitely pique your interest. Unlikely Yoda is a tech event with an infusion of elements from popular culture to attract young people to Cyberjaya. Hundreds of thought leaders from multiple fields will be invited to present their art and methods to the audience with the hope of educating them to become artists themselves. Wow, really cool. The audience can experience the event with all their senses, including independent movies, independent music performances, and mentors or experts explaining the science behind the art of their production and products.
Yep, Unlikely Yoda will be broadcasted live along with some of the world's biggest tech arenas to introduce the next wave of Google products, making it the biggest live broadcast for the Google I/O extended keynote. Now, prior to the broadcast, the audience will be able to experience Google products, including the Google Glass and the Google Virtual Reality Cardboard. Now, this is great because we haven't been able to experience the Google Glass firsthand. So if you want to experience unconventional learning through the interaction of your 5 senses and technology, head on down to Centrus at Cyberjaya on Thursday, May 28th to experience a day like no other.
It's really cool. Google Glass isn't that those things that project?
Yeah,
right?
It's the Google Glass that you put on. It's like it has a camera on, and you have your whatever that comes on the screen. Also, if you want to record a video, I just say, okay, record. I think that's how it works. Record, and then it records a video.
Well, we really. I mean, if you guys want to check it out, because it sounds really exciting. I wish I had one of those right now. Can you shoot laser beams as well?
No, you can't.
No, I am confusing it for some.
I think you have to do your own little
like comic book character.
Shoot laser. Well, why would you want to shoot lasers? From
I don't know. I read too many comics. I watch too many action movies.
Gosh.
You never know. But
You're such a dude.
Yeah, I'm such a dude. Yes, manhood.
Yes, manhood. Now, speaking of manhood, in today's manhood, it is all about calisthenics. Okay, having a healthy mind is not enough. You have to have a healthy body.
Indeed.
So check this out on manhood.
Hello guys, I'm Captain Joe. So this week I want to tell you about the basic of street workout in advance. So let me show you. So this is a chin up to build your strength on your bicep. And this one This is Ama, and this one is pull up for gain your strength from your bicep, shoulder, tricep, and your lower back, and also your back. Alright. These guys is Zube and Adam. To show you push up. Push up gain your muscle on your chest, on your back, and on your tricep. So this is the basic of street workout. And we show you dips. Okay, this is dip on the parallel bar. So it's gain for your shoulder muscle, your tricep muscle. This one to make a foundation for handstand. Alright, Ama do the bench press. So this one can build your muscle from your tricep and shoulder. And Ama will show you muscle up. Okay, Ama. Right, this is muscle up. You can build your muscle from your shoulder, your tricep, and your bicep. This is works a lot on street workout or maybe calisthenics. Alright, I will show you S-bump move. So handstand. Alright, Adam is doing handstand on a parallel bar. This one is use waist muscle, forearm, shoulder, back, and your low back to make a advanced move. Alright, Zube will show you about human flag on street workout. So this is a human flag. You use the core muscle, shoulder, bicep, and your wrist. So this is a street workout move. I think I'll show you a lot of street workout more. If you wanna know more, follow our Instagram and Facebook. BARRAGAZZ. Alright guys, when I say street, you say workout. Street workout! Street workout! Street workout!
Gosh, I can't even do one of those.
Yeah, I can. It's like some Shaolin
I'm done.
monk ninja type of training. It's really,
Everything.
you know, all that yin and yang stuff, all that cool stuff. But you know, speaking of yin and yang, it's all about balance. And most of us are familiar with the work-life balance concept, where there's meant to be proper prioritization between your job and your lifestyle. But we've all heard about those people who stay back in the office well past quitting time, arriving home too tired or willing to spend time with the family. Sounds familiar? You know who you are, which is why corporate trainer Shankar Santhiram is here to help, and he's here in the studio. Welcome to the show, Shankar.
Thank you for having me back.
It's always a pleasure to have you back.
Eh?
Third time here, yeah?
I think, yeah, third
Yes.
time. I feel like part of the furniture now.
Yeah,
It's,
you're part of the family,
Yeah,
not
thank
the
you.
furniture.
Thank you, that's
part of the
nice.
Family.
That's nice.
All right, so let's talk about this. Now, an online survey a couple of years ago by a recruitment portal found that more than 60% of Malaysians felt that they were not spending enough time with their families because they were spending, too much at work, long working hours.
Sure.
So, what's an ideal work-life ratio in terms of hours?
Hours, the number of hours that. What's the ideal work life? The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, says that if you work more than 50 hours a week, that's too much.
Right.
So let's talk about what's too much.
Okay.
Right? That's what they say. Now, this same survey, which was done by that online recruitment portal, also said that people in Malaysia do approximately 2 to 5 hours of overtime every day. I think the ideal work hours is 8 hours a day. But it's very interesting. Recently, a survey was done in Germany, and on average, Germans work 35 hours a week. Which is less than the 44 that we do, 35. And Germany is the most productive country in the world. So I think it's not so much how many hours a day you work, but what you do during those hours. So 50 is too much, 35 is ideal.
Right.
That's, I think, to answer your question, 35. If we can work 35, 38, 40, we're all right.
Right, so just try to be as productive as you can within those hours.
Yeah, that's right.
But here's the thing, with ideals, it's just an ideal. It's very subjective depending on the culture, the place and stuff. But 60% of disgruntled employees sounds like quite a bit. Why is this such an issue in Malaysia?
In Malaysia, it's interesting because you can take two perspectives. You can take the perspective of the employer, right? Malaysians have the most number of Facebook friends, 233 on average in the world, right? Seriously, this is no joke. We also, I think, in my work, what I do a lot of the time in an 8-hour work day. How many hours do we actually work? That's the question that most of us need to ask. Say, for example, if you smoke. This is a very interesting example I always give at my training programs. If you smoke, and on average you smoke 10 cigarettes a day, that's actually, an average smoker smokes about 10 a day. So if you smoke 10 during a work day, and if you are working on the 15th floor of a building, it takes you a good 3 to 5 minutes to take the lift and come down to have a smoke, because all buildings are no smoking in Malaysia. And you can't really be smoking in stairwells and stuff like that anymore. We used to do that before. Now we can't, because the smoke detectors and all sorts of other things. So you come out, 3 minutes, 5 minutes to come down. To have one cigarette on average takes you 3 to 4 minutes. That's if you smoke casually. You can, speed up a little bit, drag it a bit, faster and so on. But, it takes you approximately 7 to 8 minutes to complete one cigarette. If you think of doing that, if you just take an average of even 5 minutes, all right, to do 10 cigarettes means 50 minutes. 50 minutes of an 8-hour work day you've spent going down to have a cigarette. How many times a day do we drink teh tarik? And how many breaks do we take? So from an employer's perspective, there's always that question of, how much. From an employee's perspective, yes, in Malaysia, employers are bad as well. We try and squeeze out, we try to get as much out of our employees as we possibly can.
Exactly.
And we try and load them up with as much as possible. And we also have the Hofstede Index, which says the power distance index. In Malaysia, we've got one of the largest. We get very nervous when we see people who are in power. So which means, for example, in Malaysia, we have a lot of datuk all over the place. You throw a stone, you'll hit a datuk. Do you know what I mean? And immediately when somebody becomes a datuk, we forget their first name anymore. So if you become Datuk J Walia, I will stop referring to you as J. You'll just become Datuk. You'll be one of the other 3 million Datuks in Malaysia. Do you know what I mean?
Like the sound of
you
that.
like the sound of that. I like the sound of that also. And I think we like the sound of that. So when your boss tells you have to do something, he pitches up at 4:30 in the afternoon and says, "Okay, I need this report by tomorrow." In other parts of the world, employees are empowered to say, "Hang on a minute, you could have given this to me this morning." Your mismanagement of your time, because you didn't think about it or you didn't plan ahead, means that you come and give it to me at 4:30 and you expect me to finish it. I'm going home at 5, man. I can't do this. Whereas here we won't. We'll go like, okay, boss. And then shut the door and then, complain. And then call everybody and say, this guy's doing the same thing to us again, always. So this is the disgruntled behavior. The behavior of a disgruntled employee is usually that the fact that you have no empowerment, the fact that you don't feel that you can actually speak to someone, or you don't feel that you can actually lay your claim and say, this is not right, we shouldn't be doing this.
Right. Well,
so it is awful.
So it's
But it's got two perspectives.
It's like a vicious cycle
It
from
is.
the sound of it.
We've got to break that, And progressive employers break it. They learn. Who takes the first step? Somebody asked me, it's a chicken or egg situation. Who takes the first step? Should the employee stand up first or should the employer? I think the position of power in most organizations, the employer has the position of power.
Yep.
Right.
Therefore, they need to act accordingly.
Right.
They need to understand that, in the year 2000, the Boston College in America, they looked at 151 managers and about almost 1,300 employees,
Yep.
professional employees. And the managers said, something like 70% of the managers said that if you offer people flexible work hours,
Yeah.
Yep.
they actually produce better results. They tested it. They do produce better results. 65% retention rate increases, so which means you don't look for another job after
Yeah.
that.
So, but how do I go for a job interview and ask and ask them how do I get a work-life balance? Ask them it and say that it is important.
Well,
do
first,
that?
I think the first step is this: it's very difficult to just walk into an interview
Yeah.
and ask the interviewer, is there work-life balance? Because the
Right.
first thing the interviewer will say is, "Oh, you haven't even started work. You're thinking about your holidays."
Yeah.
So
Right.
you must be extremely careful about this. It must be tactfully done. It must be tactfully done. First, look for employers who have happy employees.
Okay.
That's the first thing. So when you're applying for jobs, we've got forums, we've got colleagues, we've got people that we know. If you're in a particular industry, you're looking for a job in that particular industry, you will most likely know other people who work in that industry. So talk to people and say, is this a nice place to work? Sometimes just observe what people do. Wow, you finish at 5, that's nice. It must be a nice organization to work for. And so you make that. And at the same time, I think if you want to ask someone, what can you give me, in terms of work-life balance, the first thing that all employees need to understand is pitch up and say what you can give the organization.
Yeah.
If you tell the organization, the interviewer on the other hand, on the other side, always looks and see what value can you add for me. That's what an employer does.
Yes.
So as I'm employing you, what can Jay Walia do for me? What can Juanita do for me? She can do this, she can do that. Right. And then after you see the buying signals where you know that the person is saying, they've bought the idea that you are actually going to be an asset to the organization. Then you pitch it and you say, can I ask a question, please? What kind of work hours am I doing? Because it's important for me to deliver the promises that I tell you I'm going to deliver.
Yes.
But in order for me to do that, I must be able to go home and zone out as well.
Yes.
I need to have time with my family. I need to do other things. So as you grow in business and as you grow in your own stature as an employee, your ability to ask these questions also increase.
Yes.
And you become more confident in saying that. It's the attitude that you actually need to cultivate, the attitude that you bring something to the table. A lot of employers are not going to even talk about work-life balance.
Yeah.
They look at you and go like, you're such a slacker to start off with.
You gotta earn your keep.
That's
You know
right.
what? It's all about balance at the end of the day, right? And you know what? Since we have to head for a very short break because it's all about balance, we'll be right back. Stay tuned, guys. Yes, guys, you're still tuned in here with us on VBuzz, and we are still speaking to Shankar Santhiram about the work-life balance. Now, before we went to the break, we were talking about tactfully asking, during the interview stage itself about what is the work culture like in a particular company. But what if you're dealing with a particularly unreasonable employer in that situation?
Which is what most Malaysians deal with all the time. I think the first thing you do, I say this in all my training programs, also my leadership coaching and consulting stuff that I do. In a job environment, you pretty much have a few options. The first option and the best option is always to negotiate, which simply means find the problem, sit with the problem and negotiate with it, and talk and explain. Articulate what you want properly. But again, the basis for articulation is, the basis for talking about anything is what do you offer? Because everyone wants to know what's in it for me. So if you sit with your employer and say, give me this or give me that, employer will say, what's in it for me? What's in it for the organization? Negotiate. So the first step is to negotiate. Now, if the negotiations don't work, which is where your unreasonable employer comes in, you have two choices. In life, pretty much. Life is a series of trade-offs. I think we all need to understand that very quickly. And the faster we realize that, the better our work life becomes. Series of trade-offs simply means this. You don't like working there, right? You have two options. You stay because you want an income every month, right? You want to be able to go on the 26th or 28th of the month and stick your ATM card into the machine and find out that you have 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever thousand ringgit that you get must be in there. And that's what are you willing to do for that? I'm willing to take the fact that this is a tough organization and I have an unreasonable employer. It's a trade-off. Now, if you're unwilling to do that, then you need to ask yourself, can I get a job elsewhere?
Okay.
Right? And if all of us can answer that question properly in the positive, then your options open up almost immediately. So I always say, first step, negotiate. Second step, suck it up. Right? Suck it up and stay. Shut up and stay, I usually say, right? And if you can't do that, then go. Get another job. Go somewhere else who will go to some other organization where the employer will value you for what you can actually give. Now, a major problem is most of us don't take these three options. We go for option number 4, which is we stay and we whine and we complain about everything.
On Facebook.
And we can't, we think writing a diatribe about our boss on Facebook, even though he's not our friend, is the best way of releasing. Maybe our psychologist will come later and tell us that that's one of the ways that you can actually release the tension. But from a personal perspective, that might help. But from an organizational perspective, that gets you nowhere, man. People just sit and whine about stuff, and we end up talking to the wrong people as well. We talk to our friends who just goad us along. Boss is terrible, a bad guy, bad guy.
Because you look for things that you want to hear.
That's right.
So, but what can I do to manage my time better if I'm in an
Be clear about your
organization?
priorities. The first thing is be clear about priorities. What is important to you? Right? For a lot of people, work is actually very important because it defines them one way or the other. Right? And for a lot of us, like for me, my work is very important. My work is extremely important because it makes me relevant. One of the overarching theme of my life is I always want to be relevant with whatever I do. I mean, I do this business, I do corporate training and management consulting, executive leadership coaching. You guys know I've been here because I own a comedy club as well. But so that's my work-life balance. I finish that, then I go to the club and I just laugh and I enjoy myself, So the priority for me is that I need to work and at the same time have options. I work very long hours because I do 10, 12-hour days in terms of training and coaching. But I take a holiday every 6 weeks as a rule. Right. My wife is usually quite upset because she's got to she's a vet and she needs to close a clinic to do this. But that's the deal we have. That we both work long hours, but what we do need is we need to decompress. So we decompress every 6 weeks, and that's not long. So I have something to look forward to all the time. So I work really hard, and working is not a problem. Then I go break. And the break, it's really interesting. Some people tell me, of course you can. You run your own business. You are seemingly doing well financially. Therefore, you can go on holidays. I started doing this when I was an employee, and I've just carried that through to the stage where now I'm an employer myself. I started this when I had no money, so my holidays have changed. My holiday destinations have changed. Right now, before when I didn't have much money. For me, a great weekend, a long weekend would be to go to PD and find a really cheap motel somewhere and hang out there with my friends and, just sit by the beach and eat and drink and try and swim in those really strange waters. But that's about all I did. Now, of course, I can go a bit further. I can get a plane and go to Bali, for example, if I want, because I've worked hard enough to be able to get there. So I've prioritized. The other thing we really need to do at work is we need to do. I ask everyone in the workplace to. Something called the Pareto principle, which is an 80-20 rule, right? Which essentially, if you test and see how much work you do every day, most of us will spend 80% of our time doing, 20% of tasks that yield results. We end up doing mundane stuff. So if you just prioritize and do the Pareto analysis on your own to see how you should, augment your life. And the basic thing that we all need to do is have a sheet of paper and write stuff
Yes,
down.
exactly. Put your thoughts
Put
down.
your thoughts down.
Yeah.
Put a list of things that you need to do every day, which is what most people think that's also rudimentary. We don't need that. No, I've got a great memory. You can't remember anything because you're lurching from one crisis to another crisis on a daily basis. You need to write it down.
Most people tend to think being busy means productive, but of late, a lot of people talk about flexi hours. Working from home and stuff, which sounds great, but you need a certain something in your character for you to pull off working from home. How can I be able to work from home?
You've got to be honest first, and you have to have integrity. These are the two basic emotional maturities that are required for this battle. Some jobs it works, right? So if you're a policeman, can't work. You can't go to the chief of police and say, I'm going to work from home.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I need flexi hours. I'll go to work. So there are certain jobs. If you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, those kinds of critical services that you provide, you can't do that. You've actually got to physically be there. And there are some jobs that also require for you to be there. So there are old school jobs. Like if you work in a bank, you can't. If you're a teller, you can't say I want to have flexi hours. You need to be there from whatever time the bank opens to when it closes. Now, for those of us who do other jobs, I think you can go down the road of flexible work hours if your organization values you. The moment your organization has value for you and the organization sees that you have got, I think it's very wrong for a 21 or 22-year-old who graduates from university to pitch up to an organization and say, I want flexi hours. You come to me and you tell me that, I'll say, thank you very much, you find another job, you can't work for me. But having worked for me for 3 or 4 years and you show me you have a track record of being diligent and being, reliable. Everyone says, trust me, I'll deliver the job. But in the English language, the word trust comes out, there's another word that comes after that, which is worthy, trustworthy. You need to be worthy of my trust. Do something to show me that, a newlywed is always a bit nervous about where her husband is running around until a year or two when she finds out that nobody's actually interested in him, so it's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? He can go out, he's only going to drink with his friends and come home. He's got a good heart, in that sense. But every time she bumps into him outside, he's surrounded by some other women. Then there's always a constant what's this fella doing? Why is he always away from me in evenings and where is he? So it's a question of trust, like everything else that you do. Work-life balance comes and you can ask for flexi hours when you have developed trust. And then if you at that point have that unreasonable employer, then you know what to do. I've already said, the 3 options for you.
Right. Yeah, well, you taught us a lot. Thank you so much, Shankar, for coming in and talking about work-life balance.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
The balance is very, very important. And, I got a taste a bit of the balance because, after long days in the studio and working, I was lucky enough to be sent to the Latin American Festival, which happened last week, right?
Fun work.
It was a lot of fun work. I'm talking about salsa, Latin flavors, Latin music, anything and everything Latin. And you know what, guys? Check it out for yourself in this week's latest buzz. What's up, everybody? Or shall I say a big hola to all of y'all. Jay Walia here, and I'm at the 7th Latin American Festival. As you can hear from the sounds happening behind me, they're just setting up. We're talking about, a whole lot of Latin America right here. I've got the piñatas next to me, and they represent, yes, look at the piñatas. They represent the 10 different countries that are on hand. That means we've got 10 different dignitaries here as well. They're about to launch the festival, but you know what? I'm talking about food, music, and a whole lot of Latin America right here in our own backyard in Bukit Bintang Park. Yes, you know what? I'm gonna make like Columbus and go and explore, so let's go! About now, I'm at the Mexican booth, right? And this place is sort of run by the Fresca restaurant, you know, they have got great food here. Okay, prawn tacos right here. You know what? I'm gonna try one. Can I get one? Not too spicy, please. It's really simple, really fresh food. No, that's what Mexican food is all about. Brilliant. So how you squeeze the lime on top? It's a whole cultural appreciation day today. So you squeeze the lime on top, right? You fold it and you wallop, as he says it. Wallop, let's go. A whole lot of prawns in there. It's really succulent. The lime gives it a fresh flavor. I know I've got sauce all over my mouth, but that's the way it's supposed to be. That's how you know it's good. It feels like I'm traveling the world right about now. Now I'm at Argentina, and you know what? I'm about to taste. Look at all these scrumptious delights here. So it's like a curry puff filled with corn in it. When they say corn, they really mean corn. None of that cream corn stuff. This is the real corn deal, isn't it? Brilliant. You gotta taste the freshness of the corn, and it's baked, so it's crispy, it's crunchy. It's Argentina, what can I say, right? Brilliant. Now I am in the land of Carnival, yes, Brazil right here, and you know we've got a whole selection of great food. I'm going to try something really interesting. It's called bobo de camarão. Can I have one of these, please? It's rice shrimp with tapioca flour. Wow. Okay, time to dig in. Folks, bobo de camarão. Rice shrimp. There's a lot of different spices in it. It's Brazilian spices right there. It's very creamy. The rice is super fluffy, but you know what? It's not very heavy. You know, sometimes when you like, it's like, let me compare it to chicken curry or something. It's really heavy. This is light, it's fluffy, and the prawns are super succulent. Thank you so much. Love this, could eat a whole bowl of it right now. Now, I'm at the little nation of Uruguay, but don't let the size fool you. They are big on flavor. Brilliant. So it's called torta pascualina. It's spinach with egg in it, and the spinach is sauteed with onions in a pan. You know what? Enough of chop, time to dig in. So we go right. You can see the egg, the spinach. You got pure spinach flavor, but it's not too strong because it's been sauteed with the onion, so you get an infusion of flavor, and the egg gives it a whole different dimension altogether. And the best part is you've got this super crunchy crust to go along with it. Brilliant. And right here, the flavors of Bogota, Colombia have been brought right to our backyard in Kuala Lumpur. I'm at the Colombian stand right here. This is called a patacones, right? So it's green banana with something like a salsa, but it's cooked. So it's got tomatoes in it, right? It's got some bite to it. It bites back. Yeah, right? It's brilliant. It's green banana. Now, you know, I know you're wondering green banana, but you know what? It tastes even better than the ripe banana or the yellow banana. And the salsa is so fresh, it's so fruity, it's brilliant. It's a great balance right here. You gotta taste it to believe it. It's super crowded in here, you know, as you can see, everybody's flocking around here and there. It's great food, you know. I was just at Mexico, you know, they got brilliant food there, and I came back home with a little gift right here. This is tamales con pollo. It's tamale with chicken in it, right? So it's made with flour, and they put the chicken in it and they steam it up, so it looks a bit like ota. It's really velvety, it's really soft, you know, and the chicken has so much of flavor in it, so the two combinations together, it's a winning flavor, and it's been there for generations and generations. I can see why everybody's flocking there for this. Brilliant. And from the proud land of the Inca and the Machu Picchu, but that's not all that they are known for in Peru. They got great food as well. It's mashed potato layers, it's Peruvian chile, it's got tuna in between, it's got mayonnaise on top. You know what? Let's dig in. It tastes like the best mashed potato you ever have, and you know what? This has got a lot of flavor in it. Wow, Peruvian chiles. You know, the tuna definitely sets it up really well. It's velvety, it's smooth, and it goes with the mashed potato. This is definitely good eats. Peru right here, folks. And And now representing the land of countless Miss Universes, I'm at Venezuela. You know, of course they're known for their beautiful people, but they've got some beautiful tasting food as well. Now this is called an arepa, which is basically a cornbread with chicken in it. And, you know, it looks really scrumptious, really juicy. I'm gonna go and dive right in. It's really fluffy chicken shreds that have been shredded and cooked together and stewed, and you've got the lovely cornbread which got quite a texture to it. It's brilliant. It's a full-on fiesta right here. Now I just sampled food from 10 different countries, so I've got a lot of calories to burn. They're all amazing, you know, you don't even need a passport for this trip. It's right here in Kuala Lumpur. I'm gonna stay on for a bit. There's a whole lot of dancing and music, as you can hear. I'm gonna get my salsa or my tango and everything on. So right about now, I'm gonna go check it out. You guys are definitely in for a treat. It's amazing. So see you guys the next time. Adios and gracias. Woo!